Do you ever get the feeling of panic and your heart starts racing, your hands start shaking, and you just don't feel good? Do tears roll down your face and you're alone telling yourself it's gonna be okay? Thing is, you're not okay. Well, that just happened yesterday, and I think I finally broke after 6 months. Now, everyone has a story, and even though the one I'm about to tell isn't all that important, it's important to me, and it affected me, so that's what matters. So, 6 months back, I started at Volkswagen after being transferred from Hyundai. Now, my first reaction when my managers told me was sadness, and yes, I did cry. But this was a different cry. It was a cry like when you're being abandoned by family, because these people were family to me. They were role models to me, and I'm being told to go elsewhere after being there a year. Now, they've talked about it in the past, but it was actually happening that time. But it was the best choice, but at the time, I didn't know. Now, February and March, awful. They were awful months. I was mentally checked out. I was ready to quit. I went back to my old habits and hid in the back room, just avoiding people, avoiding customers, just like at Hyundai. Now, before I avoided because I was nervous. I was bad at communicating. This time was different because I just didn't want to try. I gave up. Now, I eventually did get comfortable with the setting, comfortable with the new coworkers, and I began to like them. That's normal though, because after some time in the workplace, you'll have to learn how to get along, considering you see their faces every day. April came, and I decided enough was enough, and it was finally time to try. So I stayed on point, standing in the front until next customer came. I took the most customers, came into my days off, and I even switched with coworkers just to work. And I ended up being number one, selling 20 cars that month. Now, I felt happy for a moment, but I was back to being sad, just thinking, what's the point? But I pushed through, and May came. Now, May was my favorite month. Not only because I sold 24 cars, which was my all-time record, and I was number one again, but because it was a huge birthday month. We celebrated like 6 birthdays. We had so much cake. And I turned 23 and I got my ice cream cake. I like ice cream cake. I loved it. But the end came, I felt the same as before. But once again, I just pushed through. Now, June was rough. That's when the car shortage, really became a thing. And, noticed our inventory dwindling down by a lot. Now, that month I only sold 12 cars, but I was still number one again. Same thing before. End of the month came, just was not feeling it, but pushed through again. Now, July was just as rough. I did end up selling 15 cars. I was still number one again. But at that moment, I told myself I should take it easy, not only because there's little inventory, but also I don't want to wear myself down. I don't want to burn out. Now it's August, and not only do I feel mentally checked out, but I feel drained, ready to pull the plug. And I already knew that going into this month. I knew I would take it easy. I knew I would need to relax, and I would truly focus on my goals and truly focus on things I've always wanted to do. And I'm doing it. So this is day one, just me recording myself and recording progress. stay tuned.